I don't want everybody to get all excited too quick, but rumor has it that Channing Tatum actually bought a ranch up here. So you never know. You could run into a star or something like that. I think this is where all of the smart people in Hollywood go to escape all of the dumb people in Hollywood. Maybe. But I can certainly see the appeal. Now, something I wanted to talk about a little bit, because I actually want to test drive it when it comes out, is the Hyundai Ioniq EV. And I've seen a lot of reviews of it. I've seen a lot of talk about it, and I kind of just want to see what the car is. A lot of people have given it high praise for like its interior, right? So Hyundai is a low budget, entry level vehicle typically, but they're punching up, if you will, when it comes to things like their interior. But then other reviews I've read say they got into the interior and they were actually rather underwhelmed with it. They thought that Hyundai could have done a lot more, and so I'm sort of curious to see what they actually did, right? Because what I've noticed from just the comments I've read and things like that, and it's primarily not Bolt EV owners, it's non-owners, that the interior here is like cheap and hard plastic, and it's a $20,000 car interior, yet, and this is primarily people online, yet everybody that I've had come sit in the car, go on a test drive with me, drive the car around, they stated that they really liked the interior. So I don't know. I mean, I realize interiors are purely an aesthetic thing, and there are things that I've seen in the Hyundai Ioniq interior that I think are pretty cool or I like. But there are also some things that I saw that I really didn't like. So I'm kind of curious. I want to see it for myself, and I also want to test drive it. So I know some other people have reviewed it. I sort of watched Tesla Bjorn's drive of the Hyundai Ioniq. I saw Nikki Gordon Bloomfield's sort of anticipation of the Ioniq, like what she thinks about the price point, that sort of thing. And I definitely do not think that it's a Bolt EV competitor. And people say, well, what about when it gets a 200-mile range? Like they're talking about adding significant battery capacity to it. I still don't think it's a Bolt EV competitor. And the reason I say that is, just because it has 200 miles of range doesn't make it the same car, right? Just like the Bolt EV and the Model 3 are not going to be competitors. Just because they have a similar range doesn't mean that they're going to be competitors. They're going to appeal to different demographics. They're going to, speak to different buyers. There's so many other factors that go into it. Only in electric vehicles do you compare a Hyundai Ioniq to a Tesla, P85, right? It doesn't make any sense, but the reason they do it is because the drivetrain is the same, but or that it's electric, right? But I think the truth of the matter is the Hyundai Ioniq is just too weak, right? It's performance-wise, it doesn't compare. it's a true like Nissan Leaf competitor, I think, but it's not. It's not a Bolt EV competitor, just like the Bolt EV is not going to be a Model 3 competitor. And then people talk about the price difference, but the price difference isn't really all that great. So you talk about a Hyundai Ioniq EV, its MSRP is $29,500, right? Well, the Bolt EV's base MSRP is $36,600. So yeah, you could make the argument, hey, it's it includes more at the base price. Yeah, and sure, that's true, and that's valid, and that is a consideration. But some people have come out supporting GM because they didn't make the DC fast charging standard. And at first, before the car came out, I would have said that and I did say that they were fools for not making it standard. But the more I drive it, the more I realize it really does depend on your use. Because, I mean, frankly, 240 miles is just so much range. And that, from what I've seen, is a very realistic expectation of what range you could get. So for a lot of people, they're not even going to have to plug in but once a week. So like, I just think of like my mom, right? If she had this car instead of the Volt that that I gave her, she would only need to plug in maybe twice a week. And that's kind of crazy. Now, she does also drive places like San Francisco, so a fast charging option would be a good idea. But even in San Francisco, you don't just drive 150, 200 miles to San Francisco and then just leave an hour later. You actually spend time down there. So you park in a garage for 4 to 5 hours with level 2 charging, and you can make the trip back. So even that DC fast charging isn't really necessary. So with the Hyundai Ioniq, I think it's a good commuter car, and it should definitely make Nissan worry. Nissan with their Leaf, I think they should be very worried, because I think it's very much a competitor for them. But I think in terms of a competition with the Bolt EV, I don't think they're particularly close. I think they appeal to different demographics, and I think they'll both be good cars. It's just, I wish Hyundai would just say, you know what, forget it. We realize it's too late to release a 120 mile an hour or 120 mile range EV. We're just going to go ahead and release the 50 kilowatt hour version, right? I would much rather have them do that than I almost feel like we're wasting time just releasing a year of that vehicle with only 125 miles of range. But that's just my take on it. But so look forward to that. I think I do want to test drive it, and all 120 horsepower of it, and see how the interior is and just a driving feel, and then I'll just give you guys my impressions and feedback. But hey, yeah, if you only drive 100, no more than 100 miles a day, or you feel like you could fast charge in between, then maybe it is a viable car for you.